بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah. We continue reading from Imam Al-Ghazali's Jawahir Al-Quran, the Jewels of the Quran, and we have reached Surah Ibrahim, 9 verses. The themes included in these 9 verses: the book, meaning the Quran, the creation of the heavens and the earth, being a veil subjected to the benefit and the use of the human being, of course, to fulfill her role on earth as vicegerents. And the third a group of verses about the end of time scenarios and the hereafter and the punishment of the wrongdoers. These are the 4 themes in these 9 verses. So we'll read inshallah. So Surah Ibrahim, Surah Abraham, Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. Alif Lam Ra. This is a book which we have sent down to you, that you may bring mankind out of darkness into the light, by the permission of their Lord, to the path of the Almighty, the all-laudable God, to whom belong whatsoever is in the heavens and whatsoever is in the earth. Woe to the disbelievers for a severe chastisement. ألف لام را كتاب أنزلناه إليك لتخرج الناس من الظلمات إلى النور بإذن ربهم إلى صراط العزيز الحميد. We spoke about these letters at the beginning of the in fact about 29 chapters of the Quran. The total number of these letters, not the times used, but the total number of the letters, like how many letters of the alphabet are used here. Half of the alphabet. And as we said, when they are mentioned, usually a reference to the book, to Revelation, is mentioned thereafter. And the meaning of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a'la wa alam, because typically the interpreters of the Quran, the scholars of the exegesis of the Quran, they typically would say that only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows about the meaning, but the interpretation that this is the challenge, this is the foundation. These letters are the foundation blocks of the language. The challenge for them is to come up with the Quran like this. I remember having a conversation with a Palestinian Christian professor of Arabic, who also wrote some short novels, at least. I remember having a conversation, and he was my professor, by the way, and he used Surah Yusuf from the Quran to teach Arabic language and literature. Once an Arab Christian Palestinian clergy from the Catholic Church, he made a claim in an interfaith gathering in Jerusalem. He said that the Quran has grammatical mistakes, and of course there were many scholars sitting there, and they were really upset because such a claim is really baseless. So when I had a chance, I spoke with Professor Ibrahim Al-Alam about this incident, and he said that the translation of the Old Testament into Arabic is full with grammatical mistakes, but there are no grammatical mistakes in the Quran. And again, I would stress that he is a Christian professor of Arabic. So there's that challenge. That challenge is still valid through and through since the Quran was revealed. So the Quran is the guide to the guide out of that's the way out of all the all kinds of darkness, because really it says here in the translation that you may bring mankind out of darkness into the light, literally in Arabic min al-dhulumat in the plural, okay, and the nur is in the singular, min al-dhulumat ila nur. So from the darknesses, you might say, why the plural? Okay, that's the atheism is um, uh, one type of darkness. Agnosticism is one type of darkness. Communism is one type of darkness. Uh, Literally, capitalism in its really crude um, original formulation, it's kind of darkness. Materialism, because that's exactly what capitalism drives people to: consumerism, materialism, greed. That's a kind of darkness. Paganism is a kind of darkness. Associating anything with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a kind of darkness. So it's darknesses. Uh, and as once the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with his some of his companions, he drew a line in the sand, in the earth, and that's the straight path, Salat al-Mustaqim. And parallel to that, he drew other lines, and the other parallel lines. These are the lines of darknesses. So the Quran is the answer, and unfortunately, we don't have a model, an example, a tangible example today, uh, because the verbal witnessing, if you will, the narrative is one type, and it is needed, but the a concrete example is a different type of witnessing. It's one thing to speak about Islam emphasizes purity, cleanliness of one's body, clothing, place. For example, for for salah, but also for other. When you are circumambulating the Kaaba, it's also a form of it's worship. But the idea is, it's one thing to emphasize cleanliness. It's another uh, thing, and a higher level of witnessing when people see this manifest in your life. You see, Muslims are clean, etc. God is He who created the heavens and the earth, and caused water to come down from the clouds, and brought forth with it fruits for your sustenance. He has constrained for you the vessels, so that they may sail through the sea by His commandment. And the rivers also He has constrained to your service. سخر He has also constrained to your service the sun and the moon, both constant upon their courses. He has subjected to you the night and the day. He has given you of all that you asked of him. If you try to count God's bounties, you will not be able to count them. Surely man is very unjust and ungrateful. Here we have just simply a reference to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, God being the creator of the heavens and the earth. So they are created, so they did not exist eternally. And now we know the predominant narrative amongst astrophysicists, scientists, that there is a beginning of this universe. Even the atheists among them recognize, they accept that's also their narrative. They can go back to almost time equals zero. Literally, they speak within the first split second. But they cannot go beyond, or they don't want to. Science cannot go beyond that first second because they don't understand where this Big Bang came from. And it's a massive. One cannot even imagine the phenomenon, the heat, the sheer heat that existed within that split second. So much so that there could be no formulation of atoms, or, of course, the neutrons, the protons, the electrons, the quarks, etc. Nothing of that until the universe cooled so much. Subhanallah, at any rate. So here we have a reminder that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the universe, the heavens, the earth, and on it would be on a micro scale compared to the universe. That rain is mentioned, and that this rain was needed so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring forth fruits for your sustenance. لكم وأخرج من الثمرات رزقا لكم, for you. Again, وسخر لكم الفلك لتجري في البحر بأمره وسخر لكم الأنهار. It is for you that he availed, constrained, subjected the vessels, the ships, etc., so that they could cross the sea, and also the rivers, all by leave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by the commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the sun and the moon, وَسَخَّرَ لَكُمْ الشَّمْسَ وَالْقَمَرَ دَائِبَيْنِ. وَسَخَّرَ لَكُمْ, it's for you, the day and the night. وَآتَاكُمْ, and he provided you of all that you have asked him. But again, if you attempt to count the God's gifts, bounties, grace, you will not be able to count them. Imam Al-Ghazali, when he speaks about these bounties, and it's only a glimpse of how, think about the mouth, how, the role of the teeth, the role of the tongue, the role of, he mentions the saliva, so that the food will it will assist basically the food coming, moving from the mouth, to the digestive system. Of course, they did not know about that there are other things that the body secretes through the whole thing. They absorb how the body would absorb the all the benefit, inshallah, from the food. But the idea is that what ni'mah that we might not be attentive. The companions of the Prophet ﷺ used to gather together to mention to enumerate the ni'am of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the gifts of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that which He has bestowed on them. They would sit and enumerate the bounties. Just think about it today. If we get together and we talk about uh, our health, our health in the sense of not complaining. Always there's someone who's doing worse than you. You walk to the mosque or to your office or to school or whatever. There are those who need wheelchair. Yesterday, mentioning the wheelchair, yesterday literally at Al-Aqsa Mosque, at the entrance from Lions Gate from Bab al-Asbat, the Israeli occupation policeman refused to allow someone who comes regularly to the Ghazali lecture before the noon prayer. He's on a wheelchair, electric wheelchair. He cannot walk. He was not allowed to enter Al-Aqsa Mosque. And there was an elderly man right in front of me who was also sent back. And last Friday, they did beat the young men who wanted to pray at Al-Aqsa Mosque. It's a very sad scene, heartbreaking, really. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. So there's plenty of beautiful things that have been bestowed on us, and we will not be able to exhaust their number. In fact, the 24 hours a day, that's a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are required to pray the formal 5 daily prayers, that the essential part, the obligation, 17 prostrations. One might say 17 minutes out of 24 hours. How ungrateful the human being is when he or she refuses to submit to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Surely man is very unjust and ungrateful. Inna al-insan la zaluman kaffar. The day will come when the earth will be changed into another earth. يوم تبدل الأرض غير الأرض والسماوات. The day will come when the earth will be changed into another earth, and the heavens will also be changed, in brackets. And they means the human beings, the jinn, Satan, the lower animals, and so on, will all appear before God. Al-Wahid, the one, the single, the most supreme. You shall see the guilty ones secured in chains. On that day their garments will be of pitch, and the fire shall envelop their faces. This will be in the course of God's requital of each soul for what it has earned. Surely God is swift at reckoning. This is a message for mankind, that they may be warned thereby, that they may know that He is the only one God, and that those possessed of minds may take heed. The earth will be changed into another earth. يوم تبدل الأرض غير الأرض والسماوات, and also the heavens, meaning the universe will be changed. This universe will come to an end. For example, والشمس تجري مستقر لها, the sun is on its course until it reaches its final المستقر, that it will not run anymore. It will. We know that. We know this. The just read a scientific interpretation about how this sun will end. Practically all suns, all stars will also end, and if they end, they will definitely, the planets surrounding them will also end one by one. There are certain references, because the reference, the in a from a different context in the Quran. For example, the mountains will become كالعهن المنفوش, like fluffy wool that is unspun. And my understanding, Wallah subhanahu wa ta'ala wa alam, my understanding is that the laws of gravity that we have right now, that they put stick the atoms together, whereby the mountains are described as أوتاد, almost like, just think about it, subhanallah, like pinning the tectonic plates, these continents, if you will. So almost like keeping these massive mountains, they keep these those massive continents in place. And think about it, you have the Everest, and it's not the only one. In Europe, you have the Himalayas. In Asia, you have Kilimanjaro. In Africa, but this is not the only ones, of course. And think about the Indies in Latin America. The idea is that these mountains, they have a role that they play, and all these massive mountains becoming like fluffy unspun wool. That's really it simply points in the direction of that change. Of course, it's going to be quite a scene. The oceans will be set ablaze. One can think about how could it be the case. Just remember that the water is made up of oxygen and hydrogen. Both are inflammable, highly inflammable fuels, subhanallah. And this is simply to remind people about the day of judgment, when the wrongdoers, the guilty ones, the وَتَرَى الْمُجْرِمِينَ, those who committed, and typically that's exactly the word that we use for criminals in Arabic, but here in this case it's the criminal is the one who rejected the faith and sinned against God. I think it's enough for this particular session. The next one will be reading from Surah Al-Hijr, and that will be 9 verses, and that also would be on page 109 of Muhammad Abul Qasim's translation. Until then, subhanakallah wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.